Hi Aditya, good evening. Thanks.
Welcome to Reinvent. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for providing me an opportunity. And I think this is the first opportunity I am talking with this forum, with this team as well, Rocheston as a
Great,
university.
great.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce the topic you're going to be speaking on, and tell the audience a little bit about you. You can go ahead and get your screen share set up. So we have with us Abhishek. He's going to be talking about cloud security. A little bit about Abhishek. Abhishek graduated from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar University in 2008. He is a seasoned professional with identity and access management solution pre-sales, consulting for IAM Security Solutions. He has been working in various sectors, including banking, telecom, smart city implementation projects. He has consulting exposure to various cybersecurity solutions covering multifactor authentication for users and managing secure privilege access for system users, in addition to exposure to enforce the data protection and data privacy policies for the enterprise distributed in global regions. With that, I'm going to hand the stage over to Abhishek. Over to you, Abhishek.
yeah. Thanks Aditya for giving the introduction. So this topic is quite interesting topic, as well as this is a high level topic. I may not be able to cover most of the things, but I'll try to cover the cloud journey for enterprises and how it is important for enterprises to go with security in line with their uh, like we talk about cloud, everyone is interested about cloud, every enterprise is running behind the cloud, but maintaining the security with the cloud is not a simple job. It is a tedious job for an IT administrator to enforce or tighten security because that aligns with most of the things. These days organizations are uh, complied or they require to mitigate the risk. We talk about blockchain, we talk about CIM, we talk about GRC, we talk about digital transformation, we talk about the hybrid deployment of cloud. Why enterprises are leveraging the cloud? Because it is easy to implement. When the things come with ease of deployment, it comes with the security issues, security challenges. We talk about the compliance and security, GDPR compliance, privacy, data management, or it could be the infrastructure deployed on hybrid network. Enterprises are deploying the applications on cloud. Few of the applications are still on premises. Identities are lying at various locations. It can be your Active Directory, which is on premises. It can be on cloud as well these days, and it can come via vendor as well. To manage these kind of securities, cloud security is at most important. It can be used with multiple OEMs and and the security in line with the enterprise application or identities as well. When we talk about cloud security, it is not about instance on a cloud. It starts with the people or identities who are accessing those instances. If the identities are attacked, the identity information is hacked, the security across your cloud remains of no use, because the people who are accessing the cloud instances are coming from various environments. It can be on public network, it can be on mobile device, it can be on home network, the cyber cafe network. And these days when we talk about the identities, these are nothing but internal employees, external employees, partners, applications, devices, BYD, IoT of things, and customers. To manage hybrid identities which are deployed at various locations as a mobile device, it can be of any type, of any device. It makes important for an organization, though they are running on cloud. These devices are on premises on the network. To make all the transactions secure is important. How to enforce the enterprise security? It lies with security with identities or the people, a person who is accessing those identities. Then we talk about cloud security. We have cloud security at other end, and the security also in lines with the identities we are coming, accessing, getting the data, working on the applications, processing the data, transferring the files, and sharing the content. Endpoint security, it comes to the hybrid deployment. So let's take an example. this is an ecosystem for an enterprise. If you see, people are accessing the enterprise with various locations. It can be identity of world, it can be on cloud, it can be on various locations on cloud, it can be AWS cloud. Identities are differently lying with partner network, customer network, it can be mobile device, it can be any third party application where identity sources are used with a cloud based instances these days by customers. Everything and everything lies with the identity. When we talk about identity security, we talk about identity. Every enterprise is powered with a security with the help of the word identity. If enterprise are able to secure the identities, applications which they are getting access are by default getting more stronger and getting strength towards security. We say we enforce the security on cloud, but what happens if your identity is tracked? It is important to cover as a cloud. When an organization is choosing for a cloud, they should think about the identities, customers, applications, how the deployment is made. Due to the hybrid mode of deployment, it has become more important. I'll emphasize because from the identity, the security, theft to an organization comes in play. It is not about a user who is attacking the cloud instance. It is the way or the approach which is being used by an organization to secure the cloud instances. And how secure your cloud instances are, the data coming through is come through a trusted channel. It should be secured. All the enforcement which are made to access the data are in line with the identities. I'll give you an example. Like being in a company for a long period of time, I join a company. Take an example. 5 years before, I joined as an administrator. After 15 years, I am as a VP level. But at that level, I may not require the access to those applications which I may have currently with as an admin. And after 15 years, I think like I should take a role move. This kind of movements of organizations, internal movements with the employees are becoming challenges or challenging. And then after 15 years, who is going to verify my identity? What level of access I do have? Does there is a governance required? And at times, those identities which are there in the system for a longer period of time are the most uh, vulnerable accounts because they may have more rights, more excessive rights. These are the real-time challenges being observed when the migration of on-premises or on cloud is being concerned by the customers. The way of access, it's very different. People start using the handheld devices to access the corporate applications. It can be because it's need of time. Who will carry the devices? People are roaming. People are coming through various networks. They are mobile users. They are different geographies where people are getting placed. To enforce security on these level of infrastructures or the traffic coming from various network, it becomes important. When we say accessing the cloud, it's cloud can be accessed from anywhere. Cloud applications can be accessed from anywhere. It can be from the mobile device. How to enforce security to that? It becomes challenging aspect because when we say we enforce security, we have on-premise applications as well. So to communicate with them with on-premise applications, it becomes really important that enforcing security with identities as well as security on cloud is important. If we say public hosted cloud, it can be Google Office 365 or it can be the private cloud as well on cloud, on the instances. What is in the backend? It is nothing but the instance. The instance pinned particularly for a customer or enterprise, and those connectors like they configure as a connector or we call it tunnel. From that VPN tunnel, they are sharing the data to the on-premise network. So it is like first first step for an enterprise to go on cloud to ensure the security across the identities, how these are getting access, and we talk about those security first. Because if your identities are made strengthened enough with more security, all the cloud applications are by default made secure. I'd like to take a pause. If you have any questions, it may be an interactive session with the use cases you want to discuss. That will be help, because I'm not on the screen with questions. If someone wants to take up a question as
None
well.
yet, Abhishek. I'll let you know if there are questions.
Oh, there are no questions yet.
Not yet.
Okay, great. So when we talk about the cloud identities, or cloud identities which are getting accessed by the users, like it can be accessed from end systems. So for those, provisioning, deprovisioning, access management, governance, as well as privilege management is important, as well as we ensure the security policies to maintain the posture of identity, because everything lies with identities. These are the cloud instances for a particular identity to get accessed. This same identity is being used to access this cloud application, as well as these same identity is used to access the on-premise applications. All this communication is happening over cloud, or no, let's say like secure tunnel. If there is a breach with this part, how secure your cloud is, how secure your peripheral security is, this identity has access to all the information, and it can pass through your on-prem application and it can go to the cloud as well. The realistic scenario is like this is very important. Due to the hybrid infrastructure, enterprises are getting breached day by day. More of the enterprises are getting breached. The, the reason behind that, the basic identities which are not made secure, or due to the lack of information sharing capacity of an individual, the information is passed from here and there, and that is leading to a primary reason to get an organization with a data breach. How to control that? It is not a simple thing in the secure to maintain a security with the hybrid deployment mode. Either organizations need to be made think think in that direction. They secure the identities first. Cloud security, they can rely with the cloud service provider, and then talk in terms of making things simple. So this is a simple example. Like whenever you everybody wakes up, they want to take their basic hygiene activities, they can't go with multiple steps. To make these steps efficient and in simpler fashion, we talk about the maturity levels, maturity matrix for an enterprise. Take an example, maturity. We talk from the access perspective. What maturity level does an organization have? What risk, compliances, enforcement are there? We talk in terms of identity policies. Who should have access to a particular application? What level of access that user should have? How we are strengthening the passwords? What is a password rotation policy for an enterprise? So these are key aspects which will bring a secure network and enforce 100% security for the applications which are deployed on cloud, which are deployed on premises. And if certain things are happening with those identities, we should get alerted at each time. Real time monitoring, as well as we require the analytics to that. With the help of the real time monitoring, the access restrictions can be made. The users can be terminated at given point of time. The behavioral analytics with the platform coming in the enterprise applications. I'm talking about a privilege access management solution comes with Telinea, which has ability to do analyze all the information on real-time basis. It provides the information in graphs. It can be alerted to administrator as an alert, and whenever administrator tunes that alert, the access can be broken at a real-time basis. We can talk about these kind of secure mechanisms to enforce security. We talk about cloud access. Like I as an admin, I have access to cloud instances, GCP or Azure. Whenever I'm whenever, oh, sorry, there was some pop-up. Whenever I'm accessing application, a cloud instance, I use my web browser to access a cloud instance. With the help of privilege management, privilege administration, which is deployed on my agent, which is on my laptop, whatever actions I'm performing on cloud, which permissions I'm assigning, what users I'm creating, what level of access I do have on a cloud instance inside the cloud, like we have a VM spin on cloud or GCP, what roles are assigned, which IP address I'm allowing. If that IP range is not configured, is like permissible IP address range is assigned for a particular user, and if I'm assigning a IP range of that different region, different zone, it will not allow me to do that. Also, on in terms of a databases are very critical to organizations. They store million records, millions of information of a user records. Records can be informed in a banking application. It can be a real-time information of your individual's account summary. What if that information get leaks? The data breach happens due to the cloud deployment, and on cloud it should be monitored for all the users who are getting access to. Because if an administrator account is hijacked, which is for a cloud application or cloud database, enterprise will have no answer or choice that the data get exposed. And everyone might be seeing that all the information or hacks happened in past 2 years. We can consider COVID period, and all are due to the malicious insights or people who are not having that level of information what can be done with my identity. So making cloud security is one part to enterprise. Before that, what is that? Individual accounts should be made secure. With the help of privilege account management platform, these platform will enable users to execute certain commands. It can also classify the level of access for L1 user, L2 user, and also they will allow you to have various phases. So everything cannot be done for at a day one. It can be phased manner, phase one, phase two, phase three. It takes a time. It takes time to make a maturity for a platform from 0 to 4 or 0 to 5. What phases are there in the ecosystem to make secure. It is not a day one job. And strengthening the security will start with phases, like we use secure the on-premise instances, then secure the identities, assign the access at a granular level, assign the access from which IP address range the user can access. If the permissions are geolocation managed for a particular user, so that if the user is accessing that application from different region, currently I'm in Pune, if I access this application from Bangalore, the IP address range and zone get different. Geolocation tagging for access, this is very important in the cloud journey. Cloud security stands with the people who are accessing, though we say it's on cloud, but as an administrator I should know who is accessing what level of information from my application. Though it's on cloud, the way of access is very important, and that's where cloud security journey starts for an enterprise. If enterprises are thinking about enforcing the cloud security, first and foremost, security will come through the identity. It can be governance to identity, it can be role provisioning for the identity, and the way how they are creating the identities in the ecosystem. Aditya, there are any questions before I say next?
None so far. None so far. I'll let you know. We do have a little 5 minute slot at the end of the session for question and answers as well.
Oh, okay. It's not like we can run through with the in between as well. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine, no problem. This is first time, Aditya, so please bear with me as well. So I'm not
No
aware
issues.
about the flow,
No
how
issues.
we. Okay, thank you. So when we say the privilege access, it can be a foundational level privilege access. This is a phase one. In the phase one, we talk about identity, then we talk about the endpoints. How endpoints are being made secure. All the endpoints these days, people are working from home. Are the endpoints made secure with the policies which are required for enterprise? The second step happens after identity security, because if your endpoints are not secure, your USB drives are not made secure, your endpoints are going with the lower version what the enterprise should have, then the possible risk happen with the data which is being lying with the endpoint devices. So the next level, when we have the endpoint secure, we talk about the multi-factor authentication for those devices. Slowly the journey happens to the cloud security as well. Whenever a particular user is accessing their endpoint, they should be enabled with two-factor authentication. That is a need of hour. When it comes to two-factor authentication, it can be any form of two-factor authentication. It can be video facial recognition to biometric, or it can be pin verified, or it can be a strong password. Again, a normal password and strong password can be enforced for making two-factor authentication, or it can be TOTP, or what sort of two factors can be deployed. It has the enterprise choice. Apart from that, the devices which are coming, the endpoints which are coming, should have the local enforcement policy. It should not allow all the users to have the access to particular cache or caching in the directory when the applications are getting accessed, because the caching information or session information, if a user is getting like exposed, or that is getting access with a browser, any web intrusion can happen, and that can capture all the sensitive information going through the system. So whatever applications we deploy should be, so containerization, like we call it as a containerization and type of access for those set of users. When we define an emulator, we define a container for a particular user, so that whatever information is there in a container, it can be a hardened OS or hardened folder access for a user, so that all the applications which are getting access or the caching is being done is restricted to that level. It will not pass to the beyond that level. That's the second step of security when we talk about cloud journey. Enforcing two-factor authentication, as we said, enforcing the policies, like enhanced policies. We should be able to know what all administrators are there in the ecosystem, what level of permissions they are having. These days, I have seen in real time in a customer's environment. Take an example, enterprise Linux applications which are deployed on premises, on cloud as well. People are creating admin identities, they are creating multiple accounts because those are not integrated with the domain. When you discover these kind of ecosystems, these systems are running from past 20 years, and you'll see, when you discover and find out what accounts are there, people go on and off from organization, but those accounts are there still. From enforcing the discovery and enforcing the policies on these endpoints is very important. First, we have identity information. Second, we enforce, do a discovery of accounts which are there lying in the ecosystem, and then strengthen the security across that. Post enhanced access, we can enforce the just-in-time access, special permissions for a particular user. We can assign periodic access, like vendors are accessing the applications. They may have access to those applications from weekdays for particular time, like 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Post that access, you should get an approval. All this audit information needs to be tracked. Though I'm talking in terms of instance, it makes a difference if a breach happens with that instance itself. So identities are there in ecosystem, and that account is there still from 10 years. No one has access. If administrator uses that account to get into the system, that account may have more privileges from a regular account as well. That can be this thing. On top of that, when we talk about the stale accounts, the service accounts are there. Service accounts are very, like, it is a super bomb to hacker. Those are application accounts. Those can be used by a particular application. If I get an access to service account because they don't have the password reset capability, we should enforce the password rotation for those service account with with the help of any of the platform privilege access management solutions. It can be used to enforce the Titan security password, and whenever this application is the service account is getting used in the ecosystem, that should also get audited. It should be alerted to the admin or group of admins via email on certain things. This will ensure additional layer of security to all the accounts which are getting accessed across the ecosystem, because uh, in real time service accounts are getting accessed from various location. Like it can be spinned up on a cloud instance, and that cloud application has a data backup job on every weekend or every day, and that data is coming from your on-premise server. It is capturing all the information. If that particular account is getting hacked, what is the impact? You have the entire security across your cloud, but your identity is not secure. That application account which you're using to get communicated is trapped. So at time of access, from where it is getting access, who is accessing that, it should be audited. I will say it should be hard coded to enforce all the security measures when we talk from the cloud journey. The next step, when we enforce, do all the privileged access, we have multi-factor authentication, we have just-in-time access, we have workflows for accessing the particular instances or particular applications. Then we move to the governance point of it. With the governance, the classic example I told you just 5 minutes before, a person there in a system for a period of 15 years may have more access. After 15 years he may not be required those access. Do he really require that access on the platform? As an admin, he may have access to Windows, Linux system, and he may have access to cloud systems. But after 15 years, do he really require that access? It's a question to administrator. And trust me, these kind of accesses are not removed. Fine tune the granular information to access, and also make periodic changes to that. That is of important for all the enterprise before they move to cloud. And we are there service providers to ensure all the secure transitions with the help of secure access solutions. You can take my connect with from Ravi as well, or Ravi and the team, so that we get interacted, talk more in terms of how to strengthen the security in terms of risk compliance governance, and to get the entire ecosystem secure. More we talk in terms of having access to the granular system, the hardened policies can be enforced in the phase 3. This is like creating intelligence and getting more insights on real time basis. Whenever access is done, it should be alerted. We have privileged behavioral analytics that captures the type of behavior for a particular user. If my administrator is accessing for application A from particular location, if he moved from particular location A to B, he should not, first step, he should not get access to the system. Second step, though he required to have that kind of access from that location B, he should come with two-factor authentication, so that a legitimate user is being done, is identified, and real-time access sessions should be done from particular region, because certain people are doing IP switches. Hackers are more intending to do that. At real time, they sit at one location, they dummy the IP address, they give the different region for that access. For your system to make more secure, your cloud instances access made more secure, if the abnormal behavior or behavior is being observed for a person who is logged into the system for location A, and that location is very far from that location, for the user, like node B is very far from that location, it should restrict that access till time the approval is provided by the user, justification is provided by the, because these are prone to hacking. Okay, so that's more. We can discuss more from the privilege access management perspective or cloud security. Um, any questions or any discussion pointers, I'll take a break for here for some time.
Hi, Abhishek. I think if you have more slides, you can continue.
No, I'm done with my
Mm,
slides today. Yeah,
okay, because we don't
yeah.
have any questions so far, just people saying very interesting presentation and appreciating the insights, but no questions as such.
No, so okay, okay. No, I was intended to plan for 30 minutes, so I made for that. Any
Yeah, I
questions, like
think
any?
you're on dot with your timing. I think exactly 30 minutes you've taken, which is
Yeah,
perfectly
yeah.
timed.
No, I usually tend myself whenever I put a slide, I do a rehearsal
Okay,
and come with that time 10 minutes. So
so we do
content
have one
wise,
question.
oh, no questions. That's perfectly
There is one
fine.
question. Sorry, there is one question.
Oh, interesting. What's the question is for
Can
me?
you tell us more about securing AWS?
Oh, okay. When it comes to AWS security, we have solutions to secure. So when we talk about cloud security, see, AWS is a platform. Whenever you have instances with Linux, Windows, or uh, take an example, your cloud databases, what type of accesses are being made? First level. Second, what are the keys being used for accessing those applications? That can be on cloud AWS for specific, and how much session management is made for those keys. What expiry you are setting up. These kind of questions you should come up to an enterprise, to an your application. How to make secure? Like if you have the secure session key validity for 24 hours, do you require that? First question. As an administrator, I say no, my job is for 2 hours. Why should I give a permission for 24 hours? These are perimeter levels or enforcement being done for the users. Take an example, your cloud application has a cron job to pump in the data, or database information is being pumped up to fetch out the your information for on-premise application, and you have given the time limit for unlimited. So what will happen if that identity theft has happened? I hope that gives you insight about how security in line with an AWS or cloud will be. It will be in line with the identities which are getting access to that system.
Okay. So the next question would be are or is using a cloud service provider or a cloud platform relatively more secure than using a dedicated on-premises server?
Okay, is there a question on chat?
No, no. I'm just coming up with. I'm asking you some questions based on what I listened to
Hmm?
on your talk.
Okay, can you please come again, Aditya? I missed you in
So
between because
no,
I was trying
okay.
to hear. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So is using a cloud server or a cloud platform more secure and more advisable when it comes to a security perspective than having a dedicated on-premises server?
So when it comes to cloud instances usage, it is secure. I will not say cloud instances are not secure, but when it comes to administration and type of accesses being done to those instances, it can be varied. So strengthening the security for the type of access is coming incoming from various location is important. How it is getting access, who all are having the access. See, on-premise security can be tightened. You can put a firewall. You can behind the firewall. You have the load balancer, and everything is made safe. And to make that more interesting, cloud is the journey for an enterprise and ease of deployment. Though the ease is coming with a cost, enterprise are thinking now, because I'll tell you a real-time example. At early days, 2 years before, enterprises were cloud. Now still they are on cloud. They're putting their application on cloud. After a couple of years, what cloud has given them? They get the ease of deployment, but behind deployment with security, organizations have to pay double the amount. The price has increased. Why? Because as a cloud service provider, as an AWS, a cloud service, a private cloud service provider, I need to be compliant. I need to make my infrastructure secure. I need to enforce particular tools to monitor the instances, and that cost will go to the customer. Though I'm using the shared based model, that cost will go to customer. So it depends what is the business use case on a real time basis, and how it should be articulated to the enterprise.
Okay, so we have one more question in the chat. So,
Okay.
how do you do application certification authorization with a SaaS and IASS solution? And what do you look for in DevSecOps before production?
Okay. So that is a good question that falls under application security. With the certification and authorization, we should be doing the assessment for a particular developed application. In terms of platforms, there are many platforms which perform the application security, and they give the checks as well as automated reports for a particular application which is getting scanned. Though it's a web application, it's a on cloud application, or it can be on mobile application. Those vulnerability tests and as well as application security tests needs to be moduled before rollout with the production, because any of the platform will go and check for the code errors. It will simulate the platform, and real time testing can be done. There are many enterprise applications which are doing real time testing and providing the output to the DevSecOps team, so that the development teams are getting the inputs what the testing has been done, and they do not have to wait over as well. So it's a real time. Whenever the applications are on board on a pre-test environment, the testing is done, and the development teams get the real-time information about the test results, and they start working on the new development or enhancements to be done on the systems. So it is important to have the application security or checks to be done for the DevSecOps environment.
The next question is: what are the policies and standards used for? I would say the application certification authorization with the SaaS and IASS. What you were just explaining, are there any particular policies and standards that are used in the process?
um, Policies, okay. Policies, I really did not get the policies and standards. See, these days, policies are coming with the enterprise grade applications for doing the application security. And it also depends upon that, the type of OEM or what type of platform you are deployed, and what scanning you are doing in the DevSecOps. It is it is depending upon the, there are like development standards as well. I'm not able to provide the name, but there are, from the security perspective, we say NIST standards from having the access to the systems.
Okay. And I think there's one last question. What are the types of tests you look for, and what tools do you use?
Oh, that's interesting question. Tests for application getting onboarded, there are 153 real-time tests being done to promote an application on the platform on production. I being with the team, being working with the team for doing all the test cases with various platforms in internal to the on premise, on cloud as well. Wherever the test or being testing or development is being done, it is being audited, and we do a periodic check if any new version is getting released. For before new version, we have set of 150 plus tests to roll over. I can talk you, if you want a specific on application testing or security testing, we can have a one-on-one session with Aditya can share a line session for us. Policy for security controls. Oh, this is interesting one. It will be lying with the policies which are, oh, sorry, this one called. The policies can be in line with the identities. We tighten the security for type of access, identity information, privileges to the identities which are there, and then we talk about granular access to particular user. There can be set of L1 user, L2 user, L3 users in an ecosystem. Across L3, L1, L1, L2, we define the type of operating system access, type of database access the user should have, and beyond that, just a moment, I'll just mute that phone. It has gone. Sorry for that. Um, when it comes to the policy or this code review tools, web server, okay, web servers. So when it comes to the policy, we strengthen the security for all the systems depending upon type of accesses being required for the user, and how the user is really accessing those applications. It all depends upon the granular controls what you are doing. Okay, looking more for authorization boundaries. So oh, authorization boundaries. So it can be defined in terms of um, application level access. Inside application, we say a web application or IIS application have folders or directories. As an admin, he should have access to root. As an end user, he should have access to a particular directory. On top of that, if a user is trying to access that application beyond that directory, it should be alerted. So a restriction at each level for a user in the application should be made comprehensive. We talk it about these kind of controls with the help of role-based access control. It should be enforced the day the developers start to build an application. It is important to have the role-based access control, because once the application is developed and then you start doing the reverse engineering and then you put the role-based access control information, it it may be a tedious job for a developer. So when you design an application, start with role-based access control and tune it as per the requirements are there for the users.
Okay. So I think we went from not having too many questions to a whole host of questions coming your way. So
This
thank you
is
for that,
interesting.
Abhishek. I think.
No, this
Okay.
is
So
interesting topic as well. This is
yeah.
interesting topic, and it is it when we say it will take like couple of hours more if we start talking on that. And it's of my interest to talk in terms of doing the privilege access. So I'm part of Delinea, and I'm happy to discuss with anyone like who have questions in terms of enforcing security for privilege access, cloud access, how to tighten the security, and which tools can be used. We can discuss it.
Okay. So
Okay,
thank you, Abhishek.
thank you.
If anyone's interested, I think they can reach out to Mr. Prem and they can get Mr. Abhishek's contact information. So once again, no problem, Manny. You definitely kept it interesting. I think Abhishek also enjoyed answering your questions.
Yep, yep,
So
it was interesting.
thank you so much, Abhishek. It was a pleasure having you. We look forward to having you at future events of Reinvent. Please do join us tomorrow for the speaker slots. We do have some interesting workshops and speakers lined up as well.
Okay, okay,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good
thank you,
evening.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.